I want to welcome you all to the first episode of our
Indie Insights.
Indie Insights, our own version of Ballot Banner for the little tournament we've been running. By the time this episode comes out, we will have finished the bracket, and the winner will have been announced. We're recording this a little early, so we have a bit of a backlog. Make sure we can get them all out with a somewhat consistent schedule.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
This first episode, we're pretty much going to only be talking about matchups that were submitted by people that are alternate ideas for characters that made it into the tournament. Such as the first one on the list, Ness versus Frisk, who both showed up.
We should have we should have included this one, even though I'm not that much of a fan of it.
I
mean, you could arguably say that it's better than Ness versus Sans, the matchup that created by a meme from MatPet.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, but in my opinion, there is better Ness matchups. I haven't looked much into Frisk matchups, but there's definitely better Ness matchups.
Yeah.
My main issue with Ness versus Frisk is it doesn't have too much fight potential, in my opinion. Like, it's gonna be hard carried by Ness if it actually does happen.
But draw.
Like I said, hard carried by Ness. I mean, he can turn into a dragon. What can Frisk do?
Draw a boat.
Well, Frisk did
or go psychopathic, depending on what path she goes.
I mean, Frisk did go up against
a god, yeah,
Azrael's god form.
Yeah, it was a joke, but I know that people like this matchup. I like it too, but it's not my preferred for both because of it. Just gets the fight itself just gets carried by Ness in terms of the potential.
Yeah, which is the big reason we didn't put this one in. Is
I don't think anyone submitted it.
Yeah. I'm going to go to there.
Didn't I?
But we do know that Undertale was inspired by Earthbound.
Yes, we know.
Well, I mean, it was made. Toby Fox had done Earthbound stuff already.
He, in an interview, he straight up said, "If Mother 3 should get localized, play it and you'll see how unoriginal I am."
Yeah.
Anything else to say about Ness versus Frisk other than it should have been in a tournament? That's my main takeaway.
Yeah.
It's like this, and I think one other matchup that we'll talk about later are the two that had the most chance of getting in if we were gonna switch something out.
Yeah.
Like we did with the BF matchup.
Yes.
Do we want to mention that or?
Yeah, the one
we'll talk about the ones that were in there in a later episode, probably the third episode.
Alright. So next would be the other Sans
versus
one.
Gojo.
Sans versus Gojo. Yes, Sans is gonna win. Okay. I am quite not a fan of this.
What is the?
I get the joke, but it's not a good joke.
Yeah.
Also, where's the dynamic? Like, legitimately, I don't think Sans has anything reliable that can get through Infinity.
Yeah. According to
Connections, requires him actually moving Gojo, so he can't even really use that.
Well, I was able to find the connections for Sans versus Gojo if I could read them.
Hey, question. Sans remembers what happens every time you reset. And theoretically,
yes and no. It's more like a deja vu, but he's aware of other timelines. That's really it.
Right.
Yeah, especially the genocide path.
He doesn't remember exactly. He's just smart enough to tell when something changed. or is
Right.
deja vu, or another
Yeah.
timeline,
Yeah.
or how many times he's killed you.
My point
You can just tell from your face.
Him.
my point there was that you could theoretically do that infinitely.
What?
What?
You could Frisk could keep going back at Sans infinitely. Theoretically.
It's kind of like I mean, it's kind of like what they did with
Which is the
the
only
Chosen Undead.
it's the only idea I had that for Sans possibly being able to contend with Gojo's domain expansion. Again, it's
I
I mean, I don't
flimsy.
think so.
It's flimsy.
I mean, he technically doesn't fully remember it. I mean, he just has vague ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even then,
Wait,
after
no.
each reset,
Sans can bring people across time and space. He can clearly go through infinity. 100%.
throughout heaven and earth, throughout heaven and earth, I alone am the boned one.
Right under wherever Gojo stands, and it causes him to just explode.
Then again, I was able to find the connections for Sans versus Gojo.
Yeah, I'm looking at them
That
now.
they are both lazy, casual, yet
pretty
extremely
basic.
powerful people, despite not seeming like it. Both have the ability to teleport and have abilities that come from their families that are heavily associated with the color blue, not just being the color of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty mid idea. Sans
Yeah,
versus
that
Judge
is
is clearly the
the
best.
main joke is that they
Sans
don't
all
get
that
hit.
strong. Like, I am tired of that misconception. Sans is not that strong. He's a really smart fighter. He is not that strong.
Yeah,
I mean, he literally
He's
is
just-
and
the
I'm gonna say
weakest.
this. I'm gonna say this.
Yeah.
Let me say this. Let me say this. His dodging was only situational.
Yeah.
It's in Undertale. If you abort a genocide route and do this one thing with this one character, it's revealed that Sans has just been studying your movements ever since you killed Papyrus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Neat.
So he literally knows your movements, and that's how he dodges.
Yeah. Although for Sans, my personal favorite is Sans versus Koro Sensei from Assassination Classroom. But I am aware of
I like
Sans
Sans
versus the
versus Judge.
Judge.
I
That
like
personal
Sans versus
preference,
Judge.
I like Sans versus Koro Sensei, but
Yeah, from Assassination Classroom.
after looking at Sans versus Judge, I get why it's the most
a lot
liked
more
one.
popular.
Plus, I mean,
There's a
we-
reason Sans versus Judge is so popular.
we all know what
Hold
happened during the official Tournament of Champions and how far it made it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It-
we had to put Sans versus Judge in there purely because of its presence in the official tournament.
Yeah.
It is surprising
Yeah.
how it didn't win.
Uh,
Anyway,
Yeah,
I think
it
we're
got
done.
dangerously close to winning too.
I think we're done
Get the
talking about
Venture
Sans versus
versus
Gojo.
the Lamb.
So
which one?
next we've got Pearl versus Undyne.
Oh.
Lesbians. What lesbians?
Yeah. You saw the
Yeah.
thumbnail I've made.
As a matchup,
Yeah.
it's pretty
All
good,
that big was out of this. It's just
It's
but I think it's
boring.
it was the first.
I think it's just Undyne's best ult, not her best idea.
Honestly, I think it's just I think part of the Pearl versus Undyne issue. I think it's really just Undyne's first matchup.
Yeah, it
I
is
mean,
Yeah.
we
just
also even
straight
have a
up
1 milli of the matchup,
It does work,
which ended in a
and it's a
draw.
very nice idea.
Yeah, it does
But-
work.
But there's
But
just
like,
better.
I wouldn't say it's the best. You know.
Yeah, it's
Fair
not.
enough.
It just straight up isn't.
I mean, out of all the Undertale
Hence-
versus Steven Universe matchups, it's definitely the best one.
Hence our
And like I
conclusion
mentioned, we
of-
also had the
Undyne
1
versus
milli of the
Yuna.
matchup, which ended in a draw.
Mhm.
Y'all notice how none of the Undertale matchups won a single round?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a bit surprising.
It was surprising.
Yeah, there was even Sans versus Bill Cipher, which if it was a death
Don't
battle,
talk
it
about
would have been a
Sans.
massive stomp.
What?
Darremiah is still
What?
talking about the 1 minute melee.
Oh. But let's not talk about Sans versus Bill Cipher. That's an awful matchup.
Yeah,
We are not touching
Yeah,
that.
it really is.
All right, what's the next one?
Next one on the
Shantae
list.
versus Lilac.
Yep. I don't understand this one because I don't really know either character. If somebody could
Oh.
explain it to me.
I didn't
Which
hear.
is how I
I didn't
will
hear.
know
What
the
was
next
it?
one
I was
actually
actually
is.
able to
Shantae
find the
versus
connections
Lilac.
for Shantae versus Lilac.
Oh,
They're
I'm not
both
the
in the
best
game
here.
heroines identifying the color purple who attack enemies with their hair. Both are also half-breeds. Shantae is a half-genie and half-human, while Sash is a half-water dragon and half-unknown species.
Yo, my favorite species, unknown. See, I'm the
Those
first
funky
to
little
know
shake
that.
guys.
Yep.
Also know that
Well,
Lilac was originally meant to be a
letters and
hedgehog, but it was
characters.
changed due to her being too similar to Sonic.
I mean, she's directly inspired by Sonic, so I think people would have been chill with it, but I get why they took a step away. It seems like a pretty decent idea, all things considered.
It is,
But
but
as an alt
both has
idea,
better. And yeah, it's an alt.
there's a reason we didn't include it.
Yeah.
Well, the other reason is Shantae versus Shovel Knight and Lilac versus
Yeah.
Spark.
Yeah, that's the reason we didn't include it.
Yeah.
Next on the list, Dust versus Cirrus. I believe
I have
I
no.
also found the
I have no
connections.
hand into this.
I believe the Dust matchup we included was my
It was
input.
yours, yeah.
I'm a big fan of Dust's game, Elysian Tale. I haven't played it in a lot of years. The one time I did play it, I very much enjoyed it. And Dust versus Cirrus. Cirrus isn't a character I've ever heard of, but I'm definitely interested to hear it. So, Darremiah, if you could run off those connections for us.
Yeah, both are warriors in fantasy games with magic and technology who are born from the death of previous lines who wield a special sword and have a companion and are plagued with the past lives of who they formerly were and feel remorse for the horrors they caused in those lives and soon accept their past and become a new person before finding a person from their past who they followed.
What?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's because Dust, spoilers for a probably decade-old game at this point. Dust is
Decade-old,
the
that's
amalgamation of two people, and he has amnesia at the start of the game, and he wakes up with a talking sword, and like this little companion, orange companion thing, Fidget, I think her name is. And most of the game is going through just various locations, trying to figure out who you are, I believe. They'd have to review it. I think that's the main thing Dust is trying to figure out, just who he is and what he did in his past
I can
lives.
see the gappy connections, and yeah.
Yeah.
With my very limited knowledge of JoJo's Part 8.
Really, it was the first Dust idea I heard about, which is the main reason I latched onto it. I'm more than willing to hear out different ideas.
What do you think of the Dust versus Sirius, though? Like, from what you heard, like, do you think we should have included over Dust versus Gappy or anything like
From
that?
these connections, it seems like a good idea. I don't know if I like it more than Dust versus Gappy at the moment.
Okay.
Alright, the next one is the Cat Venturer versus the Lamb.
I was not
the-
able to find the connections for the matchup.
Yeah, did
Damn.
Who's the Cat Venturer?
I did, however, post a trailer when trying to
apparently
look for
from a
the
game
thumbnails.
called Cat Quest.
I'm gonna look up the Cat Venturer. Hold on.
Yeah, if you can find one.
Cat Venturer. I don't know if this is the same, but the first result that popped up was a game called Cat Quest 2.
Well, the Cat Venturer is from Cat Quest.
Oh, well, there you go. Oh, let's see.
Based on the image in the text chat there that Dara posted, I can see
Let's see.
a similar look.
Yeah, I could.
You know, the whole cutesy thing.
Well, I haven't played the Code of the Lamb. Is the Lamb a hero or a villain or like an
Oh,
anti-hero?
that's fully
or...
dependent on you. That is fully dependent on you.
Yeah.
Hell, even in the crossover game,
You are
maybe it's the
cult
same way
leader,
for
though,
a
from
Cat
what I
Venturer.
remember.
hero or villain. Well, they. I should say they.
Yeah, the Lamb is a cult leader, but I don't. I think Firefly's right in terms of
seemingly evil, but they're also seemingly not. Again, it's fully dependent on you.
Did you manage to find connections for me yet, Gilded?
Oh, I was supposed to look for. I haven't found anything on the Cat
Oh,
Venturer. I'm only finding stuff for Cat Adventurer 2 or Cat Quest 2, which has equipment from the Cat Adventurer. I think I don't know. I mean I couldn't say much. I'll just look up Cat Quest. How about that? Yeah, there's the Cat Adventurer. Where's the where's the where the fuck is this wiki? Here we go. I'm not finding anything much really.
Damn.
I mean, I mean, all I got right now is that it's an open world kingdom. It's set in an open world kingdom, and it's you're the cat adventurer's trying to rescue his kidnapped sister, and it has real time combat, dungeon crawling, and equipment progression.
Oh, those aren't similar games at all, from what I'm aware.
Yeah, that doesn't sound.
Maybe it's just on the look.
Maybe we'll have to probably go back to this later after we find the person who submitted it.
Well, I just looked at the
That's
submission. There's no connections, which I really should have asked for.
Yeah, we just need to find the person who submitted it and ask them.
Yeah,
And come back to this later.
yeah, that can work.
All right, so which one's the next one?
Isaac versus
Isaac
Omari,
versus
if I'm
Omori.
correct.
Isaac versus Omori.
Wait,
boy.
Isaac? As in the Binding of Isaac?
The Binding of Isaac, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get this. What are the connections?
Yeah, I found the connections. Both are child protectors of indie video games who lived relatively normal lives until a traumatic experience involving a female family member happened. Isaac's mother attempted to murder him, and Sonny indirectly killed his sister, Marie.
Is that it? Because if I remember
Yeah, that's
correctly,
Yeah, those
that's all
don't.
the connections that I could find.
That's
yeah, if
not
I remember
very-
correctly, Isaac was abused, which is why he constantly hid and was scared. I know that.
Well, those
Yeah,
don't seem very.
I know that Isaac
connected.
was child abused.
Yeah, relatively normal is wrong.
So
wow,
it's not a very
the
good idea.
wow, the first Omori matchup we talked about, and it's mid as hell.
No, just straight up bad. Just straight up.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Here's a before. We're not even going to the connections here. Is the matchup itself. How would Omori matchups even work? Because like most of them is in like a dream world, isn't it? Like white
Yeah,
space.
he's more so of a mental state, or representative of a mental state, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like,
How is the fight supposed to take place?
Loathing or hate. It would have to be something that would be like a mental fight with Sunny, because Sunny's a real person that Amori is based
Yeah,
off.
Sonny's a real person, but unless the character explicitly can go into like dreams or mental spaces or something, like for example, Raz.
Or Batter.
Then
I'm pretty sure Batter's weird thing is that they.
yeah, I was gonna say him too, but like I was saying, it can't work otherwise because
Yeah.
Sonny's just a normal guy. He's just
Sunny's just a normal ass kid.
Lucas would body him, but yeah, this matchup's not the greatest. Sorry
Yeah.
to whoever submitted it, but your matchup is terrible. All right, so anyone else got anything to say about it?
No.
I have nothing else to say.
Just pretty mad.
All right, so the next one should be
versus Bendy,
which is SCP-106 versus Bendy.
Yeah, I could tell what you meant by the old man, since I didn't get it when I was trying to find the connections for the matchup.
Yeah, this
I just looked it up now and I can't really find any. Other than this one Reddit post on r/who would win. That's the only real thing I'm talking about.
God, we got an r/who would win matchup on here.
Yeah.
God, those aren't even matchups. They're just those schoolyard debates.
Apparently, SCP-106 has the ability to secrete a incredibly corrosive substance
that can destroy basically
and
anything.
Send any creatures into a pocket dimension where
Okay, I can
they have
kind of see
full
a small
control
amount of
over
connections there.
everything.
Yeah, no. Bull. bad.
I mean, I get.
it sounds bad, but there is a small amount of connections.
Yeah, but it's not a good idea.
If there's a small.
Yeah, it's not. Wow, 2 bad ones back to back. I wonder if we'll get a good one next.
Well, we've got Skull versus the Beheaded.
Yeah, I was able to find the connections. If you want me to read them.
Before you do, I want to say there's another matchup for the Beheaded that I prefer. I played Dead Cells a little bit. It's fun. It's fun. I've never played Skull, so I don't know what. I think Firefly. Did he say that it's like a roguelike too?
Yeah, it's really fun. Very weirdly similar. But oh yeah, I really like this. Dead Cells and Skull is really fun. Really fun.
Maybe a little bit of bias, but I have another preferred the Beheaded matchup. It's actually in the submission list.
The
But
potential alone on this
go ahead
is
and read
honestly
the
really cool.
connections.
Okay, they are both roguelites main characters that are mutant undead. They both use their head as a way to fight. They both fight with strange weapons. The Beheaded has strange weapons like a throwable shark. Meanwhile, Skull uses another skeleton bone. And they change their weaponry a lot. Beheaded doesn't have a specific main weapon, while Skull can change the skull for other skull to gain new abilities. They were important with strange weapons. The They reported when they were alive,
I'll
Beheaded
give
was the
you
king,
a
while Skull
roll.
was the
I
first
threw my
hero
screen up
son,
just
and
so you guys
were
could
the
see.
reasons why the games take place in a damaged land. While the Beheaded wants to go out of the island, Skull to go in the deeper side of the kingdom to save the Demon King. There is another contrast as Beheaded is the head and is able to adapt to anybody. Skull can walk without his head and is able to use every skull. They also cross over with one another. A fight that will consist of them constantly switching their fighting styles. It can have them also switching arena, fighting enemies like in Neon vs. Frank in a climax with the Grim Reaper skull, and maybe the Queen or Hand of the King blade.
Seems like a very good idea.
The animation potential sounds really cool.
There's a little bit of me that still prefers the other Beheaded idea, which I don't know if I can say since it also was submitted, but we didn't do it. Can I just say it though?
Just say it.
Yeah, we're not trying to keep any of these
The
secret.
Beheaded versus the Drifter.
Drifter from what? Remind me.
Hyperlight Drifter.
Right.
The main thing that makes it stand out the most to me is because whenever they cross over with something, the other just happens to show up.
Yeah.
That's why I prefer it, but Skull versus the Beheaded, it sounds really good. I have not much to say about.
The music potential is great.
So do we prefer this over Skull versus the Knight though?
I do not. I don't know connections to that. So at the moment,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Yeah,
I don't know the connections to it either.
I'd probably be
I need to
with
start playing
Firefly
Hollow
on
Knight
this.
again.
It also doesn't have like a bit of a size issue, since even with Rain Calc still made a Knight tiny.
I mean, unless the size difference is part of it, I think I don't remember exactly what it said, but I think they mentioned this on Ballot
To be
Banter.
fair, Kirby matchups have the same issue, and they just run with Smash
Kirby's
rules
like the
for
size of a
equalizing.
small dog. Knight
Hey,
is like
Kirby's 8
bug
inches
size.
tall. What are you talking about?
Huh?
Yeah, he's
Kirby's
really
8
small.
inches.
That's not consistent at all. Dear God.
He can
Partially,
fit
the
in
second
your
sort of
hands.
abandoned
Consistent at all. He's consistently shown to be around the
most likely
size
beaten
of a
by
small
Ant-Man, considering how
child.
small they could shrink.
At any rate, most versus matchups go with a more of a Smash system where you just somewhat equalize the sizes. Or at least make them...
Yeah, I mean, they did that for Optimus versus Gundam.
Yeah.
So, the next one. We ready to move on to the next one?
Sure.
Yeah. We've got Red versus
Oh,
Lord
boy.
X. Now, this
Okay,
was
so
the other one that was highly...
Win time.
This one was the other
It
one
is-
in high contention to be part of the tournament.
We honestly
do we want to tell the
should have added
story
this to
of
the
when we started
tournament.
to?
We genuinely should have.
Yeah, we should have. The story for this being on here and why it didn't make it. When we got to the start to make the week 7 trailer, we realized how little footage the Scarlet King and Zalgo had.
Yeah, I got lucky with what I was
Yeah.
able to put together.
And we suggested Lord X versus Red for a replacement, but Nuke said no because it was already done.
Yeah, I didn't want that work to go to waste,
Yeah.
damn it. But I'm probably
Oh,
gonna,
wait.
but I'm biting myself because Zalgo versus Scarlet King made it to the semis. God, I hope it doesn't win.
I mean, it's up against Knight versus Ori and Bendy versus Cuphead.
True, it's got some
I doubt it's
serious
not gonna.
competition.
I doubt it's gonna sweep. I
Wait,
used to
this
be
is the
part of the
one I want to
Psychotic
see.
EXE
No, this
community,
is Lord X,
and
not
Lord
XC.
X.
What
Yeah,
I'm,
Lord X is better than Psychotic for this matchup.
the text that we had submitted. What I'm seeing
I'd
here,
rather
it
see
makes it
EXE
seem very good.
than Lord X. I'm being fully 100% honest here.
What about
What
Lord
did you
X?
say? I didn't hear you.
Damn, I'm not hurt. Okay, anyways, yeah. This does sound better, but also the idea of Red getting OG EXE to kill himself being his main win con just sounds way too funny for me to prefer this over EXE versus Red.
I think Lord X has better connections, and it'll be definitely easier to get a good idea of what he can do instead of the dozens of Sonic.exe takes and
Yeah, it is
not
better.
having
It's
to
just that I think that EXE versus Red is
and
funnier.
not having to look at JC the hyena stuff.
I know nothing about these characters, so I'm just following you guys on this.
Yeah,
But Lord
OG
X and
EXE
Red,
is horrible, but also we can have OG EXE just fucking. Oh god, no. It just sounds wrong. It just sounds messed up. But also, it is Sonic's EXE.
Yeah. Is Lord X and Sonic the AC the same character?
Lord X
technically
and
yes,
EXE.
but also
Lord
no.
X is just EXE, but good. Like,
It's a different take, but it the current thing of Lord X is that he is a version of the original Sonic.exe, but then the person who played it the first time revisits it later and deals with a much older and wiser EXE, basically.
yeah.
Basically, it's Sonic.exe, but they have a history with the main protagonist.
Yeah. EXE,
Yeah.
but good. Anyways, yeah. This one is objectively better, but again, EXE versus Red is just too funny.
I think either way, this would have been a better pick than Scarlet King versus Zalgo, especially if we
Yeah.
wanted some creepypasta representation. It'd be much
Yeah.
easier to get clips. I mean, for
Yeah.
Lord X, I mean, we
Yeah, I
got
would.
how many FNF
Oh,
mods?
Yeah.
I should have let you guys convince me. Oh well, we're
What's done is
past it now.
done.
682 versus Worm.
Yeah, let's
Isn't a
skip this
worm a
one.
type of dragon?
If
Well, not
Necro
a
was
type of
here,
dragon. It's a
they'd be able to
tonic
talk about it.
creature. But, yeah, you know what I
I'll
mean.
have a look and just see if we have anything about it here.
Actually, now that I think about it, can I add another matchup to the list that we can talk about as alternates
Sure.
that I should have mentioned before?
Yeah, I mean, the list I came up with was just a list of potential ideas for episode 1. We can talk about more if you guys want to keep talking for a bit.
I got one here that can be talked about because the character was in the TIC.
I mean,
It's an alternate idea for quote.
we got about 15 minutes into the hour, which is probably when I say we should cut it.
All right, so the idea that could have been an alt for quote versus reg was a quote versus Mega Man Volnut.
So one matchup. I mean, so where? So what series is quote from?
Same story. The first big.
Yeah, it's considered the first indie game. I think probably in the same sense that.
Well, it's not the. It's not the first indie game. It's the first big indie game.
Yeah, but I imagine you
Ah.
consider it the first indie game in the same sense that you would consider something like Pong or Pac-Man to be the first video game.
Or some like Undertale being the first big indie game.
Yeah. Well, actually, did Undertale come out before or after FNAF?
I'm pretty sure
It
before.
came out after
but
FNAF.
yeah, but
'Cause-
you know how Undertale changed the indie gaming scene.
True, but FNAF's the one with a movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Toby Fox got
Yeah,
No.
I heard that
for
Bandy
No,
and
we're-
Satan will be getting their
Though, if we're
own
going to,
movies at some point in the future, which they confirmed.
if we go on even more of a technicality, it's Minecraft.
True, but then if you want to go back further, it's Cave Story.
Yes. And then there's probably something from like
Cave Story.
Atari
Cave
games
Story
that
turns.
kind of counts as the first indie game, but if we're truly talking about like the start of the indie genre as a thing, it's probably Cave Story.
It definitely helped. I mean, what other indie games do you know got into the background of the sweet life of Zack and Cody?
Wait, it was?
It was on a. It was in the background of like a virtual arcade machine.
Nice.
Like you
Interesting.
can see quote. You can see quote jumping at 2 frames a second.
Yo, 2 frames a second jump.
No, it wasn't even 2 frames a second. He was just 2 frames.
Oh, so it was just shifting between two different frames.
It shifted between him on the ground and in the air.
Huh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's something.
I'll post it after this, but Clover's Volnuts. It Cave Story versus Mega Man is something that is kind of obvious if you played a bit of Cave Story. And this
Well,
is
I do
definitely
know
the best
that
example of
Boomstick
it.
referred to Mega Man Boneland as the Dying Mega Man.
Yeah, he wins this, by the way.
Yeah.
Volnuts Island level or something. Well, I think quote is city level,
Damn.
but it could be an interesting fight. I just think quote versus Reg has more to it, especially with how Reg is based off quote.
Is Island below City?
Island's above city.
Yeah.
Yeah, I said
So-
Volnut one.
Oh, okay. I thought you said quote one.
No,
That's on me.
but yeah, I think quote versus Volnut is good, but it's nowhere near as good as quote versus Reg. I just want Cave Story covered at all, because more people need to learn about it. I mean, the game turns 20 this year. I mean, come on.
God damn.
Yeah, it turns 20 in like December or something.
Mm.
Man, that makes me feel kind of old.
Old. Old.
It came out when I was 1 year old.
Reminds me that I had a guest around my place yesterday, and I showed him a video on Newgrounds, which
Yeah.
came out before this person was even born.
Jesus.
And it made me feel so old.
The Pico games came out before I was born, but I don't know if you would call them the first big indie game.
The what
I think
games?
it just considered the Pico school games. The Pico
oh,
school.
Pico, like Newgrounds. Yeah, I suppose technically they're indie games. But it's not like
But they weren't as
indie in
big as
terms of how
Cave Story guys.
indie is considered as a genre.
Yeah. It was more like a Flash game.
Yeah, that's what you would throw it under.
Me.
Speaking of Flash games, there's other ideas we could have put for Henry.
It's
Now I think about it.
What, like the stick figure battle royale?
That is one of them. The other one being Henry versus Problem Sleuth from Span Adventures.
I've not.
Henry versus Problem Sleuth. That one's kind of fun.
I've never heard of Problem Sleuth. I gotta admit.
It's a fun game. You should play it.
I think it's by the same guy who made Homestuck.
Neat.
I think it's actually where that Spade Slick guy came from. I don't know.
Oh, that makes sense.
Any others we can think about? The Knight versus Umbra from Blue Fire. It's definitely an alt.
Real.
I don't think I've ever heard of that.
Okay, so Umbra is definitely visually inspired by Hollow Knight.
Right.
It's kind of, but like imagine putting Wind Waker into that, along with
Yeah.
Mario.
Huh.
More Wind Waker though, but you have like platforming stuff like Mario and stuff.
Right. All right. Well,
But
I think
it-
we're
just-
pretty much.
just look-
I think we're pretty much done for this first episode, and we can
Yeah.
pick it back
Yeah,
up.
we're almost at the hour.
We can pick it back
Yeah.
up next
any-
week,
any-
where we'll probably discuss the large amount of Springtrap matchups that exist. Because my God, there's so many.
Yeah,
If
like
you-
Springtrap versus
All
Young
sprung
Pro.
traps.
If you want to become a spring trap, I mean, you must defeat my other 12 alts.
You could probably make. You could probably
Are we
come
also
up
gonna
with
talk
32 matchups just for Springtrap. But we'll
Are
probably
we also
only,
gonna talk
we'll
about
probably only
Springtrap
discuss the
versus
main
Bandia
ones.
while we
And
chose
every
it
single one of them are
next
not
time?
good. Yippee!
I imagine we'll
We
talk
gotta
about.
talk about all the spring trap matchups we can find.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about why we chose Springtrap versus Bendy over all of the other ones.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't like spring trap versus Betty as much as some other ones, but yeah. That's a story for another
Right.
time.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess we'll see everybody next week on the second
All
episode
right,
of Indie Insights.
subscribe, subscribble.